Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dive into a story that has become one of India's most famous, most chilling modern urban legends. It's this tale of a ghost in the machine, set in a call center in Gurgaon. And get this, the story is said to be absolutely true. It really makes you wonder, why these stories pop up in places like BPOs, these high-stress, kind of isolated spots where working the night shift can really start to blur the lines between what's real and what's just exhaustion.
Okay, so let's get right into it. This entire account comes straight from an ex-employee, a guy named Vineet, who was right there in the call center when all of this went down. So, from the very beginning, we're told this isn't just some campfire story. This is supposedly a first-hand report.
All right, so the scene is Saffron BPO, a call center tucked away in an industrial park in Gurgaon, which is a huge satellite city of Delhi. And like so many BPOs, this place really came alive during the night shift.
I want you to just picture it. You've got this big hall, and it's totally quiet, except for, the hum of all the computers and the constant low murmur of agents talking into their headsets. Outside, the industrial area is completely deserted, making that brightly lit office feel like a little island, just totally cut off from the rest of the world.
Now, every good ghost story needs a ghost, right? Well, in this one, she wasn't some shadowy figure floating down the halls, at least not at first. She was a colleague, a beautiful and really mysterious woman named Rose.
And she was a total enigma. On paper, she was the perfect employee, always on time, super efficient, the absolute star performer of the company. Everybody kind of liked her, but nobody actually knew her. She was a complete mystery.
And this is where things go from normal to, well, really unnerving. See, most calls at the center were like 10, 15 minutes tops. But this one night, Rose is on a call for hours, just speaking softly into her headset, and her team starts to get a little concerned.
So her team leader patches into her line, just to see if she needs a hand, and he hears nothing. Just dead air. The second he does that, Rose slams the phone down, gives her coworkers this look of just pure rage, grabs her bag, and walks right out. And she never came back.
So after 3 days go by, no call, no show from their star employee, the team leader starts to get pretty worried. He figures, okay, I'll go check the home address Rose put down on her employee form.
But that can't be right. They were all just working with her a few nights ago. So to clear up what they thought had to be a huge misunderstanding, the management contacts the parents listed on her form. And the crucial part, the part that'll give you chills, is what her parents said next.
They confirmed the horrifying truth. Their daughter, Rose, had been dead for 8 years.
Just let that sink in for a second. This terrifying question suddenly starts to hang over the entire office. They had seen her, they had talked to her, they had sat next to her every single night.
The news just spread like a virus, sending this wave of absolute fear through all the employees. That realization that they had been sharing their workspace with something that wasn't from this world, that was just the beginning of the horror.
Okay, so let's get into the aftermath, because once the truth about Rose was out, the whole atmosphere in the office began to change. Strange, completely unexplainable things started to happen.
So it started small, phantom footsteps in an empty hallway. But then it got bolder. An agent swore he saw Rose's reflection in the washroom mirror, but her eyes were blood red. Security cameras caught a shadow in the empty pantry twisting itself into a human shape. And then the final straw, Rose's old computer just turns on by itself and logs right in under her name.
Now our narrator, Vineet, he happened to be on leave one night. But his friend Samar, who had been pretty skeptical about all these ghost stories, well, he was about to have an experience that would make him a believer for sure.
It's 3 a.m., the witching hour, just as the shift is kind of winding down. Samar's phone rings. He answers, and this familiar, chilling voice comes through the static. It was Rose. He totally panics and slams the phone down, and in that exact same instant, every single light in the office goes out.
So most of his coworkers had already gone downstairs for a break, and a terrified Samar is just sitting at his desk. In the faint light coming from the window, he sees it, Rose's empty chair, just spinning slowly all by itself. Trying to pull himself together, he goes to the pantry for some water, only to hear a whisper right in his ear and see 2 red eyes glowing at him from the darkness. That was it. He had to get out.
He bolts for the elevator and just mashes the button for the ground floor. But when those doors slide open, he wasn't in the lobby. No way. He was standing at the entrance to this foggy graveyard surrounded by silent, lifeless bodies. and walking toward him, right through the corpses, was Rose. He scrambles to the back of the elevator, squeezes his eyes shut as these figures get closer. A moment later, the morning shift employees walk in and find him just huddled in the corner, totally catatonic with fear. The graveyard was gone, he was on the ground floor. Absolutely terrified, Samar ran home and called Viniti immediately.
So what's the takeaway here? I mean, after a night like that, there's no more being a skeptic. Both Vineet and Samar would quit their jobs right away. They never ever set foot in that building again.
And the story seemed to find this really grim explanation when they found out later that the entire office building had been built right on top of an old graveyard. Of course, today, Saffron BPO is permanently shut down, just an abandoned building holding on to a very dark secret. But the story doesn't quite end there. You'd think it would, right? Months go by, Samar gets a new job, things start to feel normal again. Then, late one night, just before 3 a.m., his phone rings. Unknown number. He ignores it, but then it rings again, and this time, he picks up.
He says hello, but there's nothing, just static. As he's about to hang up, he just happens to glance at his screen. And the call wasn't from an unknown number after all. The caller ID showed it was coming from the main landline of the abandoned Saffron BPO office.
And then a familiar voice cuts right through the static, a voice he thought he would never, ever hear again. It seems that while Samar left the call center never truly left him. It's a modern ghost story, born in the glow of a computer screen that simply refuses to log off.